You know, it took me 7 painful years and over $150,000 of my own money to rewire 25 years of my inner narrative. From when I was born, which is 0 over here, and this is my timeline. I'm 40 at the moment. Yes, I don't look it. To rewire myself in terms of my emotional nervous system and my subconsciousness to reframe and rewrite 25 years of my own internal narrative that I was a loser, who was then self-programmed to be a people pleaser, had low self-worth, had low confidence, and was very undecisive. And during that 25 years, while this was in its own vicious loop, I had next to zero guidance. I had 0 to no guidance in my life. Because during the first 5 years of my life, 0 to 5, I learned I was a kid of refugee parents. And my parents had 4 kids, and I was the youngest one. When I came to Australia, my dad was in his 50s. My mum was in her 48s. In primary school, when my dad picked me up, the kids would tease me, "Hey, is that your granddad?" And yes, I was embarrassed of my dad and my family. And with that added internal shame combined with this vicious loop over here, it cemented my internal narrative that I was a bloody loser. And in my dating life from 18 to 22, I had 2 exes and a few flings over here. And from 22 to 25, I had 2 other exes and a few other flings over here. All of them was effing toxic. If I could put a name to my first 25 years of my life, I would call it the era of blame and victimhood. Because all my insecurities, all my faults, I would always blame my parents. Why were they so old? Why didn't they speak English? Why were they migrants? I had 3 other big brothers. Why didn't they give me any guidance? No mentorship. Internally, I was jaded, I was angry, I was raging. Because I had this internal narrative of being a loser, on the outside, I was a people pleaser. I was a smiley dude. But inside, I had low self-worth, low confidence, and I was very undecisive, and I lived with shame. And all these women over here that I attracted, they were the same. It's so funny because hurt people find hurt people. Until in 2009, I remember very clearly, I was working at a call center. This is me. This is a bloody cubicle. This was 2009. It was 5 p.m. I was about to clock off. I hated my goddamn job, but I did all my calls because my team leader was harping on about my bloody KPIs. I was about to go into my mate's car who was ready to pick me up, which by the way, in hindsight, they were toxic. And we were thinking about doing some pub crawling and then hitting the clubs over here like Ivy, Establishment, and getting wasted like every bloody weekend. But then I had a colleague that tapped me on the shoulder and go, "Hey Q, did you want to go to the RSL for some drinks?" Then I was like, "Oh man, I've got some mates who are waiting for me outside." And then when I went outside, they weren't bloody there. So then I went back to this man and go, "Oh mate, look, what's this RSL thing you were talking about?" "Oh yeah, follow me." And then I followed him, and then we went into the RSL club. And in the midst of that crowd, like I worked for A&P, so they were all departments from like sales, my bloody call center people over here, you had management. And out of the mix of people over here, my eyes, whilst I was standing over here, laid on the most beautiful woman I've ever seen, which became my wife. And guys, this is not a fairy tale story, okay? I met her when she was 26. We got married when we were 29. From 26, in that 7 years, even with a supportive partner like my wife, I had spent 7 goddamn frustrating and painful years to rewire myself, to rewire this internal narrative that I was a goddamn loser. I poured almost $150,000, and even with that money and that effort to rewire myself, my internal dialogue was so strong. From 26 to 32 before I started my home loan business, in that 7 years, I never felt like I deserved my wife's love. Like I had no idea why she loved me so much. For my wife, this was her love, bright and shiny, but it couldn't pierce through this vicious black bore of bloody shame. For anyone that's still watching thus far, when I say 7 years, it's not 7 years to rewire. It was 7 years to even have a bloody crack piercing through this black wall of inner loser narrative. It was after 7 years of a lot of self-development, a lot of investment in myself, that I had a little small crack, a little small hope of glimmer that I could be someone. So therefore, I started my business at 32. But I'm telling you guys, when I started my business, man, it took me 5 years to learn up the skill to become the person that I am today. I don't know what happened, but after I rewired myself, when I started to believe that I can become something, I upskilled. I picked up a lot of skills. I absorbed like a sponge. From 32 to 38, these 5 to 6 years, this is where I did all my learning. All these rest of the years over here, they were nothing. What I'm trying to say in this video is, yes, it's very important to find the right person to love you and support you. Don't expect change to happen overnight. If you're being programmed from the start of when you were born, actually find someone that believes in you. I don't know when that will be in your timeline. Maybe you'll never find someone. Until that moment clicks, there's also another 5 to 7 years to work on rewiring yourself. I'm telling you guys, if you lived a life that resorted to using blame and victimhood, you're perpetuating that vicious cycle and just surviving every single day with that narrative. It is very, very hard to change. All I'm saying to you is don't seek refuge on that partner to change you. There's a lot of internal work, a lot of dark shadow work that you need to work on yourself before your life can take it to the next level. I'm not saying I'm a role model for anyone that's watching this, but I do have people who are following me, who are fans, who do look up to me. I'm just saying to you right now, you might think I look like a bloody winner. I'm confident, I'm like very charismatic. Don't bloody assume I've been like this since I was 0 when I was born, right? If this was an upside down iceberg, this is the tip. This is me you see right now. But I'm telling you guys, I have come a long way. This is my foundation. 7 years of rewiring and 25 years of believing this internal narrative that I was a goddamn loser. And I know what you're thinking, man, bro, you took 7 minutes, nearly 7 minutes to explain this to me? Dude, you could have taken 7 seconds. And that's unfortunately the problem with society these days. Patience is no longer a virtue. Hopefully my 7 years of rewiring, which took 7 minutes to explain, could really transform your life and give you inspiration. Life is sometimes unfair for a reason. I had to go through what I had to go through in order to become a beacon of hope for you. And this is especially for my mentee. Much love from your mentor.